Click on the subscribe button, and press the bell icon, to never miss any updates.
إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه فإن خير الحديث كتاب الله خير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. As the time is so short and considering the audience and things like that, I'm going to shrink it also, lecture part, but I'd like to give some advice considering some of the statements the brothers made, which I spoke to Brother Hamid also, that we may have good ideas have to be effective and successful. So talking about effectiveness of any kind of magazines or whatnot, in a country like this and in a time and space, we need to consider that before going further. Khutbat al-Haja itself is enough. If somebody analyzes them, should be enough to understand, sticking to the Sunnah and running away from bid'ah, how important that is. However, we'll talk 20 minutes on this in short. First, it's important to understand the definition of Sunnah. What is Sunnah? And linguistically, within the context of this religion, Islam, Sunnah means tradition of the Prophet ﷺ. This is the traditional within the context of this deen. The fuqaha has divided in further details in a legal way. For example, some Sunnah could be an obligation, and some Sunnah could be a recommendation, like mustahab, and some could be wajib. For example, some sunnah is wajib, like you pray the way Rasulullah told us to pray. Sallu kama ra'aytukum usalli, kama qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we pray as we are commanded to pray by sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But that is wajib to pray like that. There is no exception to that. But whether do I have to break my fast with the dates? Answer is no. But this is better, afdal, to do so. So in this category, this is a recommendation, but in contrast, praying the way Rasulullah told us to pray, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni salli, kama qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that is an obligation. So Sunnah, this is what is in front of us in this manner. So, but definition-wise, what is bid'ah? In the language, it implies some kind of innovation, introducing something new. Right? Now, is it a scientific innovation or a religious innovation? This is a religious innovation, something added to the religion which was non-existent in the time of Rasulullah. Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah, he died Hijri 204, he said, whatever was not in the kitab or in the sunnah or in the practice of the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, that is considered bid'ah. That's a very general and broad definition. Like what Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah also said, worship and act of ibadah which was not known in the time of Prophet ﷺ is considered bid'ah. Again, we do not have time to go to fine details. This is a broad categorization of the statement. Bid'ah could be, practically speaking, of two different types. One is making something brand new into the religion. For example, some people go to the grave, hug and kiss the grave to attain some benefit from it. Right? This kind of actions was non-existent in the time of Prophet ﷺ. So this bid'ah is like a fresh new type. And other times, which is more popular, which is an existing act of ibadah which was there, but people tend to change some aspects of it based on their own desire, meaning doing the act of ibadah in opposition of the method of Prophet ﷺ. This is another form of bid'ah. For example, reading Surah Al-Kahf on Friday has some benefit to it, as it is established from the Sunnah. But if somebody reads that in every Wednesday, expecting some special benefit from it, without having any text from Kitab al-Sunnah, that is an acting a good deed, reading Surah Al-Kahf, with an intention of seeking benefit in Wednesday, that very act is introducing something new to the religion, that is considered bid'ah. Right? Without going to fine details of those discussions. Now we need to understand some of the things in terms of act of worship, ibadah. Few elements in ibadah has to be correct for it to be correct. For example, the method, the way a method, the ibadah is done. For example, how you pray. There is a definitive method for it. Anybody, regardless of the intention or sincerity or whatever condition, makes prayer intentional in some other way beside the way shown by Prophet ﷺ will not be accepted, that introducing something new into the religion. Next point, for example, making act of ibadah in a definitive time, like fasting in the month of Ramadan, right? Somebody intend to fast of this very month in Shawwal will not be accepted as the Ramadan due to the fact this ibadah is confined within a time window. Therefore, anybody trying to fast of Ramadan without being sick, obviously, for no reason, they will be introducing something into the religion. The third thing, amount of ibadah. The act of ibadah has certain amount associated with that. For example, zakah is 2.5%. Salatul Dawah is 4 rakat. If somebody love to make ibadah of Allah, get very emotional, have so much khushu in salah, just want to extend one more rakah out of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Regardless of the love or your sincerity or your emotion, that is not accepted. And that is introducing something in the religion. Please note, somebody does something in one instant, like reading Surah Yasin after Fajr one instant, 2 instant, without wanting any extra benefit from it, just a ritual practice because after Fajr he has free time before he goes to work. That's fine. But if somebody thinks reading after Fajr Surah Yasin has extensive benefit or a definitive benefit in there, that means they are introducing some legislative matter into the religion which is not allowed. So that will constitute bid'ah. But if somebody does recite Surah Yasin, Surah Rahman, Surah Ikhlas, Surah Fatiha right before going to the work for muraja and things like that, without any other intention behind it, that practice in itself is nothing wrong with that. Unless and until somebody has some hidden agenda or ritualistic practice behind it to attain some other benefit from it. Fine. Next, for example, place. Every ibadah has some limited place to it. For example, Uquf Arafah. Standing in Arafah has a time and space constraint in there. 9th of Dhul Hijjah, you have to be there, physically present there. That's the requirement. So anybody does anything beside that without being pressed or pressured to do that, person purposely introduce something into the religion. That's the form of bid'ah. Again, this is a very generic and broad topic. Each of these things requires extensive discussion, which is beyond the scope and time, and we have kibar ulama here to discuss this, which is not my jurisdiction. Fine. Next point is type of ibadah. Like if you want to do slaughtering udhiyah, can you slaughter a chicken? Can you slaughter a chicken? Answer is no. Why not? You have good intention, you have organic chicken. Why not? Because ibadah is legislated. It is not innovated, it's not created. It's not a philosophy class that we make things up. Here we listen, sami'na, we listen, ata'na, we comply with it. This is our role. Because this thing is already completed, we'll talk about this down the line. The last, not the least, every ibadah has a reason behind it. Like for example, many people do Mawlud al-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whether Islam didn't establish a reason to do so, not being legislated within this religion, regardless of your love for Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regardless of communal pressure or public practice, we are not to do that because it doesn't fall into the category of doing such. Why I say this? Because these are the door through which staffs may just walk in. And we have to be very meticulously detailed in these things, otherwise we may fall behind. Now, sticking to the sunnah and its importance. And again, that's a lengthy discussion, a conference in his own merit. But just to say, يقول الله عز وجل اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورددت لكم إسلام دينا. Allah Azza wa Jalla said that day, Hajjat al-Wida, Allah Azza wa Jalla has completed this religion. Now, in an analogy, if you speak, something which is complete, if you want to do more to it, you do harm to it. For example, if a glass is filled up with water, and you pour more water to it, you create a spill. Even though you intended good, khair out of it, but again, because what you did, it is not required to do, you created a problem rather than a benefit. So likewise in religion, whoever introduced something more, when Allah has already completed this deen, then only going to create further problems. In addition to that, when Rabbul Alameen says something being completed by Him and accepted, you, Abdullah and Fatima, has no right to put their nose into it. As simple as that. But Hadith of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came in many different sanad and texts. Say, مَا تَرَكْتُ شَيْئًا that I did not leave anything alone. يُقَرِّبُكُمْ إِلَى اللَّهِ will take you close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُبَعِدُكُمْ عَنِ النَّارِ will take you away from the fire. إِلَّا أَمَرْتُكُمْ بِهِ كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, that I did not leave anything alone. To commanded you already what to be done to get close to Allah. What to be done to be safe from the fire. And therefore, if he claims sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have told you what to do. Instruction is complete. In that regard, how can Abdullah and Fatima takes the initiative, takes the authority to either add or delete from the religion? That very statement negates the fact we are not in the liberty to do so. Again, each of the things could be discussed in further detail. And we know that ayat Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul. Allah has commanded the believers to comply, to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Nabi has a role here, which is exclusive to him, unlike us. وَالَّذِي بَاسَ فِي الْأُمِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْكُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. Allah dispatched a Nabi from the people in the Arabian Peninsula. Objective was, this Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam will purify them, educate them in Quran and the Sunnah of sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the hikmah. So the Nabi had a role as an educator, and he did his job sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And therefore, when the job is complete of a Nabi, the followers of the Nabi doesn't have the authority, neither have the liberty to add or delete from this education of sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Therefore, obviously, we are obligated to follow sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Then there's many ayat, فَلَا رَبُّكَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ حَتَّى يُحَكِّمُوكَ بِمَا شَجَرَ بَيْنَهُمْ. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, He swore by Himself subhanahu wa ta'ala that Iman of the people will not be complete if they do not take Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as the final judge in all of their affairs. And therefore, whoever doesn't take the final word as final from the tongue of sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or by action, or by acceptance, taqreer stuff, then they are simply saying the teaching of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wasn't enough for them. Imagine the statement, the significance of the statement, the magnitude of it. Somebody implying that whatever Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught is not enough for them. They have a better way than sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Perhaps many people never even say that, never even mean that, but they do that without knowing it. And I will say a few points how to address this, inshallah. And to conclude that section, يقول الله عز وجل قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني. Now we talk about legislation, how Allah told us to obey Him. He's the teacher and we are the student. We have to listen to Him. But Allah says, in addition to that, the emotional aspect, if you claim you love Allah, if you do so, then you follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Faqat. Discussion is over. So it is as simple as that. And I don't understand. And by profession, I'm an electrical engineer. So in our field, everything is very definite. Very definite. Either light is on or is off. It is 1 or 0. Hi Allah. That's how we work. So I understand in a logical manner. If Allah and Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave something, we are here to comply. Who authorized me to extend it further? It's just as simple as that. So I don't find it to be a complex subject matter. Rather, a subject matter requires some thinking from the people. Now, as I said, khutbah al-hajj was enough, but Imam Hassan al-Basri rahimahullah, tabi'i, who died 110 Hijri, he said, actions, statements, and intentions cannot be right except in accordance to the sunnah of sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Therefore, if I say something, if I act on something, or if I intend to do something, all must be within the given boundary or framework of sunnah of sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is a clear statement of Ta'bi, and we all know about Hassan al-Basri. He was at the same time Ibn Sirin rahimahullah. What is the importance of avoiding the bid'ah? Right? It is extremely important because قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من أحدث في أمرنا ما ليس منه فهو رد كما قال. Whoever invents, introduces something into this religion, they must be rejected, must be stopped. Why so? Just look at this. Like if you are the director of a company and you sign everything to be approved and somebody bypass you, get somebody inferior to you get approved, you'll be offended by that. Like this chain of authority. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the chain of authority in this. He is the final word in this regard. And Allah already said that. Therefore, if I introduce something more than what has been already prescribed for me, that will be going beyond the limits. To add to it, if you're a doctor, medical doctor, prescribes you some medication, right? antibiotic 3 times a day. He said, I want to be cured faster, let me make it 6 times a day. No person in his sane mind will do that. Why not? Because the doctors know better. Doctors know better. Doesn't Allah Azza wa Jalla know better? Wallahu ya'lamu wa antum la ta'lamun. Atu'allimuna Allah bidinikum. Will you teach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala your religion? So therefore Allah knows and you do not know. Therefore Allah sent the Nabi to teach us and we are here to comply. I mean, I myself, honestly speaking, do not find this too complex. Find to be straight to the point, very simple. But I don't know, people have reasons behind it, either culture, application of weak hadith, or pressure of the community, or generation after generation. We're doing it, we need to continue to do that. But any sane mind need to think again, because deen is based on قال Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, upon understanding of the Salaf, the first 3 generations. Therefore anything beyond that, above and below, is not accepted. So, Imam Malik rahimahullah said, this is a very powerful statement. Very powerful statement. He's Imam of Dar al-Hijrah, died 179 Hijri. He said, whoever adds something innovation to this religion and considers that to be good, as if the person said the Prophet ﷺ has not fulfilled his amana, his trust, his job, his role, he failed to do it. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is a phenomenal statement just to think that if you do that, you're saying a Nabi failed to do his job. Who are you to say that? So some people will never say that, but guess what? They will do it in their action, they will do that. So we need to point it out with humbleness and care and to explain those things to them. Imam Sufyan al-Sawri rahimahullah is also from the Salaf, he died Hijri 161. He said, bid'ah is beloved by shaitan. Shaitan loves bid'ah. Why so? Because people of bid'ah, whether he's a mubtadi, he's creating it, or a blind follower of it, a muqallid, doing this blindly, this person will never do tawbah. Why not? Because the person thinks he's doing a good thing, or she's doing a good thing. Why would you make tawbah from a good thing? Right? People do Mawlid al-Nabi, they cry in there. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they cry in there because they're doing khair, and if you don't do it, they call you people got too modern. They say you too modern. Like, remember some place I gave a lecture. How many minutes I have? Some people gave a lecture. Since I don't have a thawb or kufi, somebody just looked at like, you know, it's kind of a little awkward, isn't it? I thought you'd come with a thawb, so why so? I'm not Arab. I'm not. So why so? People got so short-sighted, so limited in vision, no depth in their intellect in there. Everything confined to apparent view. And these are the same people leave this country and get the maximum benefit out of it, like they're enjoying the best of this dunya and act like piety relies on their clothing. That's a whole another discussion which is beyond the scope of today. Imam al-Barbahari rahimahullah, he's also from the Salaf, he died here 329, rahimahullah, he said, be careful about small innovation. Be careful about bid'ah which are small, in magnitude small. Why so? People of the past generation started things small and expanded it to be a huge one. And without going into fine details, the point here is, I said everything from the Salaf until the 4th century, right? I didn't do anything after that, right? The people said, and honestly, I respect people of knowledge. I read Imam Bukhari's book at least 25 years ago, I remember that, rahimahullah. Right? These are the people of knowledge, but can I use some common sense? Because it sounds very academic without some practical connection to it. Brother, Allah and His Prophet gave some legislation, some rules and regulations. You and I, Muhammad and Abdullah and Fatima, we just have to listen and comply. Keep it simple. Why make it so complex? I just want to know why he makes things so complex. It's so simple. Allah want ease. وَمَا عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ مِنْ حَرَجٍ. In Surah Hajj, Surah number 22, Allah didn't make things difficult for us. Why are you making things difficult? So that all the imams doing all the stuff in the masajid, I mean, this is so phony, and we know it, and we need to change the generation and come from different aspect of it and educate them, inshallah. And first thing they said, you educate them. They said, brother, you studied in madrasa. The first thing, let me just give a side time. Somebody said, you studied in madrasa. Somebody said that. Allah Hossain, I don't want to say something offensive. I said, alhamdulillah, I studied one of the best schools in the country. I think, inshallah, I was smart enough to go to the school, so I think I have some of mine. Right? That's what I'm going to say. So, you know what I'm saying? So, I said that, yes, alhamdulillah, that the degree, which is important by the way, they tell me, will you take a prescription from a medical doctor, from a person who is not a medical doctor? I said, no. He said, why should I listen to you that you didn't go to madrasa? I thought that's a valid point. That's a logical point. I agree with that. See, every Muhammad and Abdullah start talking in lectures, they do not have the academic background, doesn't have ijazah, doesn't have any degree. How can I trust the person who's right? That's making it true, by the way. It is logically sound. Then how can I trust you right? I agree with that. So there is a solution to that. That's another discussion. But it is true. So Muslims, when you speak, we have to speak with evidence. And we have to back it up from kibar of the ulama that this is their statement. It is not me who is saying, I'm only a transmitter. But the message comes from somewhere else. It's another statement the Imam made, that guess what? Every fire starts with a small spark. I really got fascinated when I read this. Right? Every fire starts with a small spark. So every small bid'ah will light up the whole place and destroy the whole structure. So therefore, whenever we see bid'ah, then we try to stop it and press it down, suppress it. Right? So that's the reason for we have to be away from bid'ah. Now, what are the common reasons? I have 5 more minutes. What are the solutions to it? People being ignorant, shedding light is one of the things. In principle of duality philosophy, he says, light has a unit to it, darkness doesn't have a unit. Those who understand philosophy, light has a unit called luminance. Darkness doesn't have a unit. Right? So darkness is absence of light. So whenever the light, the knowledge comes from Kitab al-Sunnah, from the authentic sources, upon the understanding of the Salaf. Now I'd like to shed some light here in 2 minutes. Many years ago, an Imam told me, many years ago, إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَلَائِكَةُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى النَّبِيِّ يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا صَلُّوا. Fi'l al-amr is a command. That Allah commands us to do Salat al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So he said, how can we do Mawlid al-Nabi? He's right, he gave me a text. But walakin the text has understanding. It's not the literal meaning of it. The context has to be understood. This ayat, so I replied to him, the ignorance is so strong, sometimes it doesn't work. I replied to him, this ayat came to whom? This ayat came to whom? Says sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah said, this ayat came to sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, people of the Arab. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَا قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. It came to the people of the Arab. It came to the Arab. Now the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala whom understood, they're the first-hand audience of this ayat. Did they practice this ayat the way you're doing it? Khalas, there's no discussion. You say Abu Bakr, Siddiq, Umar ibn al-Khattab, did they do the same thing what you're doing? If you can bring a proof from the authentic source, khalas, I'll do that. But if you cannot prove it, hatu burhanakum, I'm asking for a proof. If you don't have it, either you say something khair, or yasmud or keep quiet. So this is the thing we have to deal with that. And one of the problems, bid'ah come packaged in sunnah. Bid'ah come in packaged in sunnah. That means bid'ah is wrapped, sugar-coated in sunnah so nicely, mass of the people think this is a good deed. Somebody say, what's wrong with you to do Salat al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? I say, I do that all the time in my salah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. I do all the time. All the time. So, you are wrong that I don't do it. But I do not do the way you do it. Because you are the one made it up. I come from the original sources. So, we need to point this out to the people. And otherwise, it's not going to benefit from it. Why is Sahaba so important? Guess what? Without details, Sahaba radiallahu anhu was trusted with to record the Quran. Here's a good point to understand. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Nabi al-Ummi, he did not write. He trusted these people radiallahu ta'ala anhum to record the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they have any doubt in their sincerity, their intelligence, their authenticity, they have not done so. So they have been trusted to record the book. These are the people of the best of the generation. He's the best of the generations. So we are to comply with them. Why do we want to invest something new? And they've been certified by sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, to conclude the matter, add to this discussion of the brothers who said before. I believe, I spoke about the Hamid, I believe this is an initiative excellent. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give barakah and make the effort successful. Anything if I can do, inshallah I will do so. I have a busy schedule, I'll try to do that inshallah. But one thing I think, as I read, see everything is Bengali, right? Everything is Bengali. I didn't read Bengali book for 26 years myself, right? And my kids don't understand. So, I'm in a retirement phase. Yes, see, I have a grey beard. So I'm a people who are fading out. I'm here over 30 years, so I'm fading out. I'm a retirement age, right? Not really, but I'm fading out. I have no essence. I'm not young, right? I don't have the spirit. When I was young, I used to be like very active, do a lot of stuff, but I can't because old age and so many other things. But new generation has the courage and the language and connection with the time and space. Like the Sheikh said, apps. In social media, this is the time of social media. And if you're giving other stuff, it may work for retirement and senior citizens. But this generation, if you lose, I've been very sincere, that's why we're working on Tawheed, and Dr. Hafizullah also part of it. That Sheikh Mahmoud is here also. What is the objective? If, this is my honest opinion, I don't know how many people know, I have 2 more minutes. I have many students from Bangladesh. I have many students, right? 2 of them told me, directly told me that. He said, where are you from? I said, born in Bangladesh. He said, I'm from Bangladesh, my parents are from Bangladesh. Yes, they're Muslim, I'm not Muslim. Allahu Musta'an. The name is Ahmed, Muslim name. So I tell Muslim, I talk to him, try to culture him. He said, I'm not Muslim. Why not? Because this and that. One mother called me one time, cried for long. My son doesn't want to be Muslim anymore. So I spoke to him half an hour. A young kid, 20-something years. My son is 25, young kid. I humbled myself to talk to him. I tried to be nice with him. And he's running big mouth. But this is a different generation. I don't understand, still we live in stone ages. This is not going to work like that. Honestly speaking, it's not going to work like that. So, it is good if it works for this generation to bring the parents back to this Kitab al-Sunnah, fine. But I think major effort, initiative has to be to the youth. Brother, somebody is 50 years old. How much change do you expect a person for all this? Young generation becoming a kafir. Muslims, I don't know if you're following me, let me repeat this. They'll become a kafir. They said, I'm an atheist. Not even the Kitab, I'm an atheist. I don't believe Allah's existence. That's what he told me. And I heard this from 3 Muslims from Bangladesh, 3 Muslims, young generations. It hurts me. And some Muslims, no offense, again, I'm just saying, please don't be offended. Some Muslims, please don't be offended. Some Muslims still busy, what should be the length of the miswak? Allahu Musta'an. I mean, I have nothing in a miswak. It's good, it's sunnah. Prophet said, I will make it wajib on you unless it's difficult. You old person, go ahead and do it. But let the young man become a kafir, you talk about miswak. Allahu Musta'an. I mean, you are disconnected. This is a problem with this generation. We live in the past. Migrants come from Bangladesh. I know it. They're still reading Bangla newspaper for 4 or 5 of them. And they pay tax in this country. The tax law change here makes a difference in your tax. That's why in Bangladesh it doesn't matter. So I'm not against Bangladesh not to be disconnected, but I'm simply saying, you eat here, sleep here. Why are you so disconnected? Your children should be going to Islamic school. They're not. They go to public school. The thing they go to, I went to Catholic school for information, right? I went to Catholic school, American Catholic school. Subhanallah al-Azim. I mean, your mind will be blown. What I saw in 8th grade they do. 8th grade. That was in 1980s. Imagine now what they can do. And you are sitting, mashallah, father with thobe, mother with niqab, daughter with jeans walking around, no hijab, son is cursing in the street. Akhi, this is not religion. We got too much into thobe and niqab. By the way, I am for niqab, my family, everybody wear niqab. That's beside the point. But ulama has اختلاف in this. Shaykh al-Mani al-Tanqid rahimahullah, other aimma al-kibar like Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn Mad. I follow that. But I may do it as a person, but I'm not going to preach it because that important element need to be addressed. So I hope this book also addresses primarily, I think, to this generation. And khutbah in the masajid, it can't just be in Bangla because kids don't ever understand. And Bangla song, I have nothing against it. But another thing I like to say, Brother Mahmoud is also here. Some youth commented about our programs. They said, brother, unless the leadership of Tawheed and programs like that change the thinking, like what kind of food do you serve in your program, that tells you, are you for youth or are you for retired people? Rice and chicken. What is the burger? What is the French fry? What is the pizza? That's how, what is the donuts? That's how the young people work. What is the basketball? What is the barbecue? You want the young generation? That's how it works. And you want the older generation being rice and chicken legs with some squash on it, that will work for them. So we need to start thinking different ways. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the tawfiq. Whatever right I said is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever deficiencies I had in statement or understanding is from my deficiencies from the shaitan. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. My apology that I came late. I also have to run. I have another program for the show. I just give them salam. I was there. Jazakumullah khairan wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
ITV, Call of Peace, Save Humanity.